Hello, everybody. Apparently, I'm live. Oh no, Shell, didn't clean your glasses. It's dreadful. Hello, David. You win the prize for saying hello first. Welcome to Drinks with Kate after our little break. I have a beautiful bottle of 2024 Pinot Gris to drink with you guys tonight. I have two versions of my quiche. This is not very beautifully plated, but it's one of the things I like about quiches. You can make little mini ones in a muffin tray, and they're rather awesome. Or you can make a big one and cut a nice slice out of it. I noticed from some of the pictures that some of you guys are doing that you have salads. I didn't have salad. I'll have salad later. But I have quiche, so I'm very pleased. Cotty and John say that John's making the leek tart, and Peter said to me, "Oh, why did you bother putting the leek tart on? Because leeks and onions are the same thing anyway." But they're not. And leek tart is. I had a French professor at university who was horrified at how few leeks we Australians eat, and he went on a mission while he was teaching us at uni to try and get us all to eat more leeks by making us different leek recipes every week, which was rather wonderful. But leeks are very different from onions. They're the same family, different flavour profile, very delicious. Anyone doing the cheese match? I can't even remember what I suggested, Rita, but I'm sure it will work well. Okay, so who have I not said hello to? I think I saw Craig and Karen and Jonah on the chat. Hello, Goodmans. Rita, hello. Cotty and John, yes. Emily and Kevin, hello. It is a lovely photo of Jill with the flowers. I thought it was probably appropriate because a lot of people think of Pinot Gris as being very floral in character. So Jill with her big bunch of flowers, I thought was a nice little... and someone described it as grandma's bathroom, as in, the talc and the rose petal smells and things like that. And Jill's a grandma, so there you go. She's actually not here tonight. She might come in later. She's at Jeremy's kids' production, which I'm a bit sad that I'm not at, but that means Jeremy's not here either tonight. But they're doing Dot and the Kangaroo down at the Frankston Art Centre, so that's very exciting for them. A lot of discussion about glasses, and I think I did say, maybe I didn't. I thought I'd said in the email on Tuesday that I'll be using a Pinot Noir glass, but you can equally use your just usual standard tasting glass as well. Both will work. I think that because this is quite a full-bodied Pinot Gris, it will appreciate being in the bigger glass. That's my reasoning. Plus, I like drinking out of these glasses. Polly's here. She'd like to say hello. Hello, Polly. Hello, Polly. And thank you to Kay and Fiona and David for taking me out for dinner last night. That was very lovely as well. A little birthday treat. We've got past the birthday now, which is good. We can move on for another year. Daryl and Sue are here. Hello, welcome. Hello, David and Imran. How you going? Did you come and see me at the drop shop tasting last week and not tell me that you were David and Imran, or did you not make it? It was a fun tasting, but it was, also quite a Thursday night's a nice night to stay home. So I don't blame you. I don't blame you if you didn't come. If you did come and you didn't tell me who you were, then I'm very cross with you. All righty, let's get this wine open. Didn't make it, going to the dinner in Kew. Oh, excellent. Well, I look forward to seeing you there. That'll be fun. We do still have a few spots left at the Centenove dinner for anyone who's still prevaricating a bit about whether or not to book. That's going to be fun. All right. Also, it was nice to see some of you at Jill's lunch on Sunday. So it's been a busy time. I'll put the lid back on there. Peter and Richard are still busy doing other things, but I'm sure they'll come swarming in for their glass of wine in a moment. Peter and Karen brought quiches and a croque monsieur for good measure, plus a salad. Good work. Craig, be very interesting to see the tasting matches because this is a very salty wine. We have Jones melted Camembert, but the wine overpowers it. Yep, I think that Camembert isn't quite strong enough in flavour for a wine like this, weirdly, and particularly when it's when you've baked it in the oven to make it all melty and turn it into a dip, it becomes a little bit, Camembert becomes a bit gentler, whereas if you use something like if you used a bit of Taleggio or a washed rind version of a Camembert, so something a bit stinkier, and did the same thing, then I think you'd be in heaven right now. So keep working on it, Kay. I reckon you'll get the perfect melted cheese and Pinot Gris match very soon. Rita got the Riedels. So confusing on which is which. I have the Riedel glass out tonight. Excellent. Okay, Rita. Just to help, just everyone talk amongst yourselves for a minute. I'm going to go and get a different shaped glass just to show you what I mean. Hang on. Honey, you could have entertained people while I ran away. You could have done a little song and dance. Yeah. Oh, here I am, back again. So, this is the Pinot Noir glass. It's like a goldfish bowl. I like drinking full-bodied whites and Pinot Noir and Nebbiolo from this glass. It doesn't work for Cabernet or Shiraz. It doesn't really work for a narrower style of kind of Pinot Grigio. It doesn't work with Riesling or Gewürztraminer, or if you have to drink Sauvignon Blanc or Semillon, then it doesn't really. This shot glass is not good for those wine styles. This is also a Riedel glass. This is a Riedel. This is called a Riedel Sangiovese glass. If I put it next to the Pinot glass, you'll see the difference. So they're about the same height, not quite, but nearly. This is much longer and narrower, and it's a good all-rounder. So if you're ever not sure, you can. Everything looks pretty good in this glass. The Pinot Gris tonight will look better in this shaped glass, but it will work really well in this glass as well. These are the glasses that we use at Cellar Door. These are called Magnum Overture Riedel glasses. They're somewhere in between. Richard really likes these. I really like these as an all-rounder glass. So because Richard's the boss, these are the ones we have in Cellar Door. Okay, hopefully that helps with the glasses, Rita. Gay, hello, how are you? Have you got your wine open and in the glass? I was running a little bit late tonight because I didn't get a lot of help from my friends here. Everyone's a bit busy. And howdy, Kay's got quiche Lorraine, excellent. Fiona, I'm not ignoring you. I agree, this is a beautiful wine. I just haven't had a chance to smell it yet because I'm too busy talking about food, which we're not supposed to do first. So let's get back to the wine. It's got a gorgeous, there's a little bit of rose gold to the colour. It's quite pale, but it's got a slight rose gold kind of hint to it, which is very Pinot Gris. And Fiona's absolutely right. It's all about pear fruit. It's kind of green, crunchy pears and ripe, yellow, juicy, sweet pears all together on the nose. There's a lovely honey, nougat, nutty kind of a note. There is a shortbready kind of biscuity kind of a note as well. And as Craig said, it's quite salty, particularly on the palate. So it smells more honeyed, but it's like Jill made this amazing, and she's made it before, but she makes it relatively regularly for the wine club lunches. But we had it on Sunday, and it's a salted honey ice cream. And we use Cotty & John's honey, which is very beautiful, distinctive honey. Thank you again, guys. But it's got some salt in the ice cream, and it just brings up that honeyed note and brings up the aromatics of the ice cream. And I think that salty kind of character in this wine, which we believe comes from the soil rather than from sea spray coming from the sea, that just increases for me the aromatics of the pear and the honey on the nose. Sorry, I got a frog in my throat. Everyone's a bit busy. No one made me dinner. I know the feeling. I know, Shell. It's not fair, is it? Oops. Okay. Shannon drank the 24 from the fridge. So you're Johnny with the 23. Good work. Rita had the skinnier glass. Yep. And Rita, have a bit in each glass and see how it looks, because it's quite interesting to see how things go. Shannon, I think you and Trent will very much enjoy the 23 as well tonight. It's a little bit further along on its journey as far as richness and honeyed character is concerned. This is a little bit tighter. This is a bit more salty, a bit more savoury, particularly on the palate. So, Chef Andrew did make dinner tonight, caramelised onion and Gruyere on a seeded baguette, simple and perfect. Absolutely. So, Gruyere was my cheese recommendation. I was a bit slack with my recipe, with my ingredient getting today, and couldn't find Gruyere at the establishment that I went to buy cheese from. So I've just used tasty cheese in my quiche, and it's fine, but it would be even better with Gruyere. What else? Yes, Craig, some far off violins for Shell, poor Shell. Good, Rita. I'm glad it's better in the wider Pinot glass. Very good. And yes, I'm sure the 23 is delicious, Shannon. All right, so we talked about the nose. I've put the wine in my mouth, but I sort of got excited about how much it tasted and back to talking about the food again. So let's do that again. It's really, this is the thing that I find about Pinot Gris from here that's really interesting. It's got quite a full-bodied character to it, but it's quite tight and fresh and bright. Oh, Craig, you're saying the same thing. Freshness, brightness, and liveliness. So it's got that lovely pear fruit again on the palate, but it's got lovely natural acidity. It's not really high acid, but the acid there is quite lively. It's got some really nice phenolics, which is what is that kind of feeling of weightiness and solidness to the wine, if that makes sense. Phenolics are very closely related to tannins, but when we're talking about white wine, we tend to talk more about phenolics because they're a bit gentler than the tannins that we extract from the skins of grapes when we're making red wine. So I just love that. Juxtaposition in this wine between rich ripeness but savory tightness and freshness, and it's got a lovely full-bodied texture on the palate as well, but it's not overly oily, it's not heavy. It's a quite a full-bodied white wine, but it holds itself together really beautifully, and particularly as a young wine. Now, this is where you can play around with Pinot Gris and temperature. So if you make it cooler, it will feel crisper. It will have less fruit richness, but it won't have as much perfume. You won't smell or taste as much if it's colder, but it will be more refreshing. So if you're matching it to, say, scallops or prawns or something a little bit that needs something a bit tangier, serve it a bit colder and it'll do that for you. If you let it get warm up to room temperature, then you get more richness, more fullness, and it works better with the sort of the bacon and eggs and cheese that we've got in our quiche Lorraine. It works better with the rich sweetness and saltiness of caramelized onions that some of you might have in your onion tart, and the caramelized leeks have a beautiful sweetness and perfume, which works really, really well with a wine like this. So people like me who made or bought quiche because that was the easier thing to do, and it will be delicious. If you haven't made the onion tart or the leek tart, but you were tempted to, I think you absolutely should, and you should either get yourself another bottle of this wine to drink with it, or as David and Fiona did earlier this week, I think, had Alsace onion tart with the 2014 Pinot Gris, which is available to all of you guys who are in the wine club. On the wine club, once you've signed into your wine club account, then you can access that. Oh, more lights. Oh no, he's putting lights on outside. I thought he was trying to help, but no, he's looking for a cat. Of course. Okay, so yeah, it does work really well with egg. This, which is not all last Saturday. Fee, thank you. The 2014, which we've had together before, and we will have again. I can't remember. Did we have it last box, or is it in this box? I can't remember. I have a feeling that I'm like springing it on you again at some stage. Maybe it's down the track, or maybe we've done this year. I can't remember. I'll have a look at my notes. Okay, help. But the 2014 has evolved and developed more richness, but it's still dry as a bone. So it's fantastic with that. Onions are very special because they've got lots of sugar in them, but they've got a lot of sulfur in them as well. So you get that deep savouriness, particularly when you make caramelized onions and cook them long and slow. They work really, really well because the sugar in the onions caramelize, and the savoury sulfides in the onions give it a real kind of umami boost. I think one of my favourite things to do with caramelised onions, which we might have to do together, which might not work for everybody because you've got to like the hairy fish, but it's pissaladière, which is a southern French tart, which is caramelised onions with anchovy and black olives, and they are amazing. Really good summer snack. You can do it on, I do it on top of focaccia, so you get like a big kind of pillowy bit of bread underneath all that saltiness. It's pretty awesome. Anyway, we'll do that next time we do the 2014, I reckon, because I think that'll be really fun. Yum. Fiona will occasionally lower herself to a tiny bit of anchovy as long as it's ortiz. Fair enough, Fee. And you can just do the focaccia or the tart without the anchovies if they are completely abhorrent to you. So it does work. But those of us who love the hasn't Peter doled you up some lovely Richard? It's dreadful. Poor old Richard's just kind of carving little bits off the quiche and eating it in his fingers like a heathen. But good. I'm glad it's delicious. I hope it goes well with the wine. Let's have a go. 2014 is not in this box. No, I didn't think it was, David, but I can't. Have we done it this year already, or have I got it on my list for the next box? I can't remember. I have a feeling it might be for the next box. So I cheated with my quiche. I didn't make the pastry. I know, how appalling. Thank you, Kay. I used Carême sour cream short crust pastry, and it's pretty good, but I think it's better if you make it yourself. I bought the bacon in a big chunk, so then I just cut it up into squares. So I've got nice big hunky bits of bacon in my quiche. Oh, it's yummy. It's just at room temperature. I didn't bother reheating it. I cooked it a couple of hours ago, and it's just kind of cooled down, but it hasn't been fridged. So I really like egg and bacon and cheese and pastry at sort of room temperature, not too hot, so you don't burn your mouth. It's quite, that oiliness of the pastry gets cleaned up really nicely by the wine. And it is someone who said jasmine, Fee, jasmine, honeysuckle, and spring blossom. I reckon with the smoky bacon, particularly, that's bringing up all those floral notes, which is perfect for today, because I don't know who went for a walk in the sunshine today, but the vines are popping their buds, which is a little bit early because we're still trying to get the pruning finished, but we've got blossom on the ornamental pear starting to come on. and we've got jonquils everywhere, and the air's just a little bit warmer. It was only 15 degrees today, but the air's warm enough with the sun that everything, all the perfumed flowers just smell gorgeous. So it's pretty special. Okay, did just burn my mouth on the tart, says Cotty. Oh dear, I hope it's delicious. We did 2014 Pinot Gris in May 2025. Okay, well, that's why I think I'm planning to do it in the next box or the one after that. We're up to box 4. I reckon we can just about fit 6 boxes in. Our Christmas box might be smaller but higher quality, just to kind of fit it in before the end of the year. Yeah, Rita, I'll also have Fee's anchovies. I'm very happy for people who don't like anchovies on pizza to pick it off and flick it onto my bit of pizza. Very happy. And Shell and Andrew just got into anchovies. Yeah, reducing down into sauces. A lot of people say you can't taste it. I find that anchovy as a sort of base for a sauce. I'm not sure if I can taste it or not, but because I like anchovy, it doesn't really matter. My sister Beck, who hates anchovy with a fiery passion, can taste it in the tiniest proportion in any sauce. So it just isn't a thing that she can cope with. So I respect people who can't cope with anchovy, but for those of us who like it, it's pretty awesome with caramelized onions. Okay. Craig wants to know, are we turning the Pinot Gris over more often, or is it still a little niche? Both, actually, Craig. I think that now that we've sort of semi-established the Pinot Gris on skins, the story of Pinot Gris is much more interesting here at Moorooduc, with Pinot Gris white and Pinot Gris red. I think that the fact that French wine and imported wine in general has gone up hugely in price over the last few years means that now our Pinot Gris is not seen as being very expensive, and we could get an Alsace or an Italian version that we consider better for the same price or less. That's not the case anymore. So I think that we're playing on a more even field as far as we probably need to put our prices up, but, we won't talk about that at the moment. There are more people making serious Pinot Gris in Australia as well. I think, particularly down here on the Mornington Peninsula, there's more people who are excited about the potential that Pinot Gris has, rather than just making it into cheap, cheerful, not so cheerful, depressing wine. People are trying to make something a little bit more exciting and more full-bodied and more lovely. And I think this is a good example of that. I'm actually considering for the next box, because when we do our guest wines, I know we've been doing local friends recently. We've got an Italian wine in this box, and I'm thinking about putting a French Alsace Pinot Gris in the next box, because I found a really delicious one. And I think it would be quite fun. And it's only got a little bit of residual sugar in it, so it's not too confronting. So if you guys can cope with another international wine in the next box, I think we might do that. I think that would be fun. How do we choose? Fee wants to know which parcels go to traditional Gris versus Pinot Gris on skins. At the moment, we're finding that the fruit that comes from Duns Creek. I just lost the name, went out of my head. Duns Creek Vineyard, which is a little further south and ripens a little bit later, but produces really pristine quality Pinot Noir and Pinot Gris. Sorry, Craig, you just distracted me. I'll come back to that in a moment. The Duns Creek Pinot Gris, because it's in such beautiful condition and has that little bit of extra slower, longer ripening time, we're finding that is working really well for the Pinot Gris on skins. So the Pinot Gris on skins gets the majority of the Duns Creek Pinot Gris. In 2025, we got more Pinot Gris fruit from Duns Creek than we needed for the Pinot Gris on skins. So some of it went to the white wine as well. So that'll be interesting to see how that affects. This wine has got fruit from Garden Vineyard and from Osborne Vineyard. So a little bit further north, a little bit riper. I'm not. I think that because the Duns Creek comes in a little bit later, it takes the pressure off a little bit as well. As far as the red wine making technique, takes a little bit longer. It's nice to get the whites through first, so that's probably got something to do with it as well. But yeah, I mean, it's not hard and fast. It's not set in stone. But for the Pinot Gris on skins, the bunches need to be very evenly ripe. They need to be nice and fully ripe. So we've got good flavour and good ripeness in the skins and the pips as well as the juice. But having it come in a little bit later means that we've got a little bit more breathing space as far as letting the wine do its thing. So that works really well. Okay. Craig, holidays. To be honest with you, I have no idea what our holiday scores are this year because I don't have a subscription because it's so expensive for wineries to have a subscription. And last year's write-ups were so disappointing and unuseful for us as far as promoting our wines. We didn't bother renewing our subscription this year. So if anyone's got some really lovely news for me about our Halliday, I've been getting emails from the marketing department at Halliday saying, would you like to have an upgrade to your membership, which we don't have a membership at all. Would you like an upgrade to your membership so that you can promote your wines with your wonderful scores? But I don't know what our wonderful scores are. So I'll go on by the book at some stage. I don't find it to be a very useful thing for us to have on our website or promoting on, shelf talkers in the cellar door these days. We had a bit of conversation with the reviewer who reviews Mornington Peninsula, and she got cranky with me because I was sending her wine that wasn't being released for a couple of years. She said, well, I'm not going to write that up. We used to always submit all of the one vintage at once so that she could kind of have an overview of that. And in the past, that worked well. Didn't work so well a few years ago. So I'm just sending her the wines as we release them. And we're just, it's lovely to have third-party endorsement for the wines. But as a marketing tool, it's not worth the $500 a year or whatever it is to get a subscription to be able to use the tasting notes. So don't buy the book, watch the movie. I shall, but we won't be in the movie because we didn't win any of the trophies. We didn't win any of the best Pinot or Chardonnay producers. I think we might have got our best review for Pinot Gris, maybe, but I don't know. Chances Robinson and her team love our wines. Matthew Jukes recently departed. We miss him. He was a lovely friend, but he also wrote beautiful things about Moorooduc Estate wines. So we will miss his reviews of our wines. I'll miss catching up with him when I'm in the UK to show him the wines as well. Enough people love our wines, including you guys, for me not to worry too much about reviews that we don't get. So there you go. Stay out in the world. But as I say, I haven't seen the reviews, so I have no idea what we got. Craig, have you seen them? Was anything nice said about Moorooduc? Anyway, we love Jancis as well, David and Imran. Although I do remember Jancis back in the early days of the Robinson Pinot. Our previous importers in the UK imported little bits and pieces of our wine, and they imported our Robinson Pinot. What are you doing, Paul? Are you feeling a little bit left out of the conversation? Sorry, hang on. Polly wants to say something. She says, don't you worry about those reviews. Just drink the wine. This got 95, and it was mostly 95s across the board. Oh, that's all right, Craig. I'm happy with 95s. I'd be happier with 98s, but whatever. We've been also, I've got to say, the Halliday Guide has been a really consistent supporter of Moorooduc over the years. We've been a 5 red star winery for the last 10, 15, 20 years. That's much more important to me, that we're consistently regarded as being at the top of the scale of consistently high quality wine from Moorooduc Estate for over a decade. That's like really important. The year-to-year reviews, if we got 88 for something, I'd be really sad. 95 is pretty good. 96, 97, 98 would be even better, but it's all good. Polly needs to sit next to me so she can be the star that she is. No, she's very happy on the sofa. She's just moved over to the other sofa though, because obviously she's, I don't know, she's in a bit of a strop. I've been going out too much. I've been working too much and going out too much and leaving her behind. We won't talk about the Shiraz. Okay, Craig, let's not talk about the Shiraz. People don't understand our Shiraz. I'm okay with lackluster reviews for our Shiraz. We make less than 100 cases of it in most years. The people who get it, get it. Reviewers taste so many wines. They taste them fast. They rush through them. They do not have time to spend enjoying the wine as it evolves and changes in the glass. And our Shiraz is a wine that you need to spend time with. It's not a classic Australian Shiraz, and it's not for everyone. And those of you who do love it, fantastic. Please keep buying it. We'll keep making it. Speaking of unusual grape varieties to grow on the Mornington Peninsula, I have to tell you that the Nebbiolo vines have started budding. The Shiraz has not, and which is good because the Shiraz we're leaving to prune till the last. But Nebbiolo vines are well on their way, which goes to show that Nebbiolo is a variety that likes to start early and will go late, and it's a very early start to bud burst this year. We always kind of expect it to happen in September, and it started in mid-August this year. So I guess we should just come to terms with the new normal. Not pruning the vines in the hope that they might wake up a bit later doesn't work either, we've discovered over the years. So there you go. Do people tend to drink Pinot Gris in summer rather than winter, Rita? A lot of people, there's a lot of prejudices against Pinot Gris, and I think one of them is that Pinot Gris is a sort of summery wine. I think this wine is a much better wine to drink on a cooler day because it's got more full body, it's got richness, it's lovely. And people who drink our Pinot Gris drink it all through the winter. But it's a customer by customer, glass by glass, bottle by bottle kind of a thing. So going back to Craig's question, is it still a bit niche? Absolutely. Our Pinot Gris is a bit niche, but in a really good way, that when we put it in front of people and we put it in a glass and they drink it, they go, wow, that was delicious. We had that experience at the Continental a couple of weeks ago. We had a dinner at Ember and we had the Chardonnay, the Pinot Gris, the Pinot Noir and the Magic Silk Shiraz on over the dinner, across the course of the dinner. More people said, oh my God, I love the Pinot Gris than anybody else. And that was the one that we sold on the night. So pretty awesome. Dave drinks it mostly on a Monday. Thank you very much. Fiona, if you only want to drink Pinot Gris in summer, just put on a jumper and turn the heater on. Indeed. Shell Nebbiolo is also my spirit animal, and we're keeping our fingers and toes crossed that we'll get some fruit this year that we can have a play with. So watch this space. Coddy, John wants to know if we get frosts in October. Who knows, John? Hopefully not. Look, we don't. Frost is not really usually a problem for us here. We sometimes get a frost in the depths of winter down the bottom of the property. We get a little bit of frost down there in the winters when it gets to sub-zero. But because we're so close to the water, that helps us to avoid frost in the growing season. But it's very early for the growing season to start. October is probably a bit late for frosts here in the northern part of the Mornington Peninsula, but I would never say never, because who knows with the weather that we're getting at the moment. It's all pretty crazy. It's all changing. It's just something that we're having to adapt to and hope that Mother Nature will not be too cruel to us. Hailstorms are more of a problem for us than frost, and they will often happen in October, November, just as the vines are trying to set flowers and set fruit. That's when we get hailstorms often. We're hoping that won't happen. More questions. Enrico loves the Shiraz. Thank you, Enrico. Shiraz next week. Oh, there we go. We can talk about Shiraz more next week. How old, Craig wants to know, are your Pinot Gris vines? How long do they take to start producing good wine? So, Craig, we don't have any Pinot Gris vines in our vineyard. And I'm not sure how old the Pinot Gris, but the Osborne Vineyard Pinot Gris vines have been there since the 80s. Dad's going like this. Okay. He's correcting me, as he's wont to do. The Osbornes planted Pinot Gris after they pulled out Cabernet, so it's possibly in the 90s or even in the noughties. We're not really sure. The Garden Vineyard Pinot Gris, we've been making first for the Garden Vineyard owners and then for ourselves since the early noughties, 2000, and Richard thinks they're at least 20-year-old. They're more than that. They're probably more than that, because you had an 04, didn't you? An 04 Garden Vineyard Pinot Gris in your cell. I remember him opening something that was from the early noughties that he'd made for Doug and Di in the early days. They're about 20 years old. We're finding the more we're working with the vineyards with Pinot Gris vines, with the viticulture, the quality of the fruit's getting better. But we've been getting we have been getting good fruit from our Pinot Gris vines, probably when they were sort of 10 to 15 years old. It's kind of gone up in quality. We weren't taking Pinot Gris as seriously back then than we are now, though, so it's really hard to answer that question, Craig, so I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, it keeps getting better. Cotty and John are saying they can get frost as late as early November, 2 kilometres from the ocean. I think that's probably you are also being down in the southern end of the Mornington Peninsula. You're at the mercy of all the southerlies that come through, and that wind is so cold. I imagine that would have something to do with cooling down the air and creating frost, but I'm not really sure. Richard's just reminded me that also because we're on top of a hill, the cold air goes down, and so if there's frost, it's in the next door neighbour's property, not in ours, which helps. How much more of the 2014 do we have, Rita? Enough for you to keep drinking it for a little while. So 2014, I'll remind you of the story of the 2013 and 2014. We were making those wines at the same quality level and in the same way that we make them now. Back then, we had a previous distributor who thought that Pinot Gris should be sort of the next iteration of Sauvignon Blanc, and that it should be cheap and it should be cheerful and it should be easy and that it shouldn't be complicated or complex or expensive. So as a result, they didn't sell any of our Pinot Gris for us. We ended up finishing working with them, but in the time that we were with them, we had a bit of a build-up of Pinot Gris at the winery, and so we made the decision to sell a pallet each of the 2013 and the 2014 Pinot Gris, and deal with them later and move on to the 2015. So we sort of jumped forward after selling the 13 for quite a long time at Celador. We did quite well selling at Celador, but our Celador was a much smaller and less successful affair back then than it is now. So was one of the reasons that we decided it was so important to work directly with you guys, to work directly with our Celador, and to get our wine club up and going and working well, so that we didn't have to rely just on distributors to understand our wine to sell them. And we're certainly also seeing these days that we're selling more. Jill's here, which is why Tallulah is barking. And Polly will stop barking in a minute too, probably. There she goes. There they go. Doggies. I'm trying to do drinks with Kate. We know. So the 2014 we don't have a full pallet anymore in the back shed, but we've got quite a few cases, Rita. So we didn't put the price up for selling the back vintage Pinot Gris, because a lot of people. Hello, Jill. Woof woof. No, we ate it all and drank it all. It's all gone. So the 2014 is about the same. Crosby started. Sorry, Crosby. Leonie, I don't even know are you on, Loans? Loans has had a busy couple of weeks, so she might not have made it onto Drinks with Kate. But yeah, let us know. Jill, without flowers. We had a picture of you with flowers on the sign-in today, Jill. One of those ones that Catherine took, because I thought, floral, Pinot Gris, Jill, grandma with flowers, Pinot Gris. Very nice. You'll need a glass and the wine. The wine's over here. What? Shiraz. Jill's looking forward to the Shiraz next week. What? She's been sarcastic. Crazy. All right. It's all gone a bit silly here. And Tallulah is being a troublemaker. But we are up to 42. Jill might like this little mint. No, Jill, have a slice of the big one, Jill. It's much better than the mini quiches. Give her some wine. Yeah. She can have some wine. David and Jill can share a bottle of Shiraz. David doesn't like the Shiraz either, Jill. David, Jill said you guys can have something else. It's got a real cheesy kind of note now that it's opened up in the glass, but there's still that lovely pear. Peter and Jill make this beautiful pear compote, which they served on Sunday with goat's cheese, with this Pinot Gris, and using 2 glasses means the wine goes quickly. That's absolutely true, Rita. I've done that before as well. And you sort of tend to drink twice as much. It's a little bit embarrassing. Anyway, you don't have to go anywhere, so it's okay. You can just kind of, chill out and have lovely Pinot Gris vibrations going on. So next week we're doing, what Shiraz are we doing next week, Peter? The Magic Stalks, is it the new one? No, it's the old one. It's the 22 Magic Stalks next week, which is going to be fun. I reckon the 22 we lost and then found again. And I thought we'd sold it all. And we had one bottle of it lined up against the 21 or the 23. I can't remember. And it was awesome. It's really, Fiona quite likes the Magic Silk Shiraz. It is very different, absolutely. And the 22, if that's what we're drinking, has got a real kind of floral violet lift to it. So we'll talk about that next week. I'm going to go and finish my quiche. Love you all. Cheers to Pinot Gris. I hope you all drank Pinot Noir 2 days ago on International Pinot Noir Day. I'm sure I did. I can't remember now. What was I doing on Wednesday? Whatever. Drinking Pinot Noir. Tuesday I drank, yes. Oh, yes, Tuesday. I drank Pinot Noir on Tuesday. It was good. Lovely to see you all. Thank you, David and Imran. What will the food match be with the Shiraz? Cuddy, we were just told by the cellar door guy at a winery we won't mention that Gris doesn't cellar well. Well, that is rubbish, as we know, Cuddy. So many people, that's very kind of you, Fee, but a lot of people who make Pinot Gris and sell Pinot Gris think that Pinot Gris needs to be drunk within a year of being made. Otherwise, it'll go off like milk. It absolutely won't. We know the truth. We'll have a 2014 again really soon. In the meantime, Shiraz next week. Lovely to see you all. Take care, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.